I'm going to make a video for Booz Allen Hamilton and the psychological operator there, the PSYOP operator, Scott Bennett. You know, Mr. Bennett, the well-financed orgy. One more time, Scott Bennett. The well-financed orgy of the Investigative Reporters and Editors Association at the University of Missouri, Kansas City was written back in the 1970s, 80s, and in the 90s. Long before the world ever heard of Scott Bennett and Booz Allen Hamilton. Now let me get to the point here with some people out in California that are involved in a federal lawsuit in Judge Carter. Back in the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s, Couch Mortgage Company down in Houston, Texas was running the old Taylor, Bean, and Whitaker. Dean Couch was playing loan portfolio services and Lee Farkas games back in the 1960s, Scott Bennett. And for my constituency out there, I want to make it perfectly clear about something. Donald Trump being framed and set up by the Department of Justice and the FBI, Comey and Mueller and McCabe and Stotch, or however you say that freakazoid's name, and this fake FISA warrant stuff, and the whole smear job, the whole dirty little underhanded campaign of the corrupt FBI. I want to throw a name out here that everybody will remember, but remember Lyndon LaRouche telling everybody how corrupt the FBI is, and you might remember another guy. I'll move on. I can't remember his name right now. He's from Ohio, and they set him up real good. He was a congressman, I guess. It'll come to me here after a little while if I don't think about it. But long story short, during the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, vast, unbelievable tsunamis, tidal waves of money was stolen from the banks, the savings and loans, the mortgage companies, and it was all done Clintonista style, like they did the Whitewater and the Castle Grande and the Maplewood Farms, and they did it like they did the Madison Savings and Loan there, and the several other Arkansas Industrial Development Bank shakedowns that the Clintons were involved in back in the 80s, 70s, and the 80s. Now to Scott Bennett and Booz Allen Hamilton, my question for you folks is where were you in the 80s and the 90s? What is it precisely, Scott Bennett, you did, Mr. Bennett, to expose the savings and loan scandal in the 80s and the 90s? Same question to Catherine Austin Fitts, same question to Matt Taibbi, and same question to Occupy, and same question to Anonymous, and Donald Trump. What were you doing, Donald Trump, to expose the massive financial looting of the American financial system in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s? Donald Trump was not there. And same thing with Julian Assange. Now, who's going to understand this video better probably than anyone else would be Professor William Black from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He knows who the IRE are, the Investigative Reporters and Editors. And he's probably even read things like the well-financed orgy. Write that down, well-financed orgy, Scott Bennett. And I don't know, maybe even Beware of the Ranchero Racketeers and the Arizona Project. I mean, Scott Bennett, where were you when the Arizona Project was going down, and when the great Texas bank job was decimating the snakes, the slithering slobs of the robbing of the American financial system in the 70s and the 80s? toxic zombie development. Look that one up. Booz Allen Hamilton. Mr. Psychological Operator. Scott Bennett, my old buddy Scott Bennett from Texas. Where are you from, Scott? Now, to kind of wrap this one up, because I'm making it for a particular reason. You see, the misdirection and the distraction, the hocus pocus, to get everybody to look over there. Look right up there, the security camera. Oh my! The massive robbery of the American financial system. That's how you steal elections. Hillary Clinton, you use all that money to finance your little crooked campaigns. I don't know, people like Kevin Brady. Hey, Kevin Brady. Ask Kevin Brady who I am. He'll tell you in a heartbeat. Old Kevin remembers me. And a whole lot of other people do too. From Houston, Texas, when the banks and the savings and loans all got padlocked by Catherine Wolford. I mean, did you ever interact with Cat Wolford, Scott Bennett? How many times did Booz Allen Hamilton interact with Catherine Wolford? There's your answer for you, folks, right there in a nutshell. Well, I wish I could remember the name of that Ohio congressman that they railroaded it. Jim Traficant. There you go. Old Traficant was telling you how corrupt the FBI was. I knew I'd remember his name eventually. Yeah, they did quite a number on old Jimmy Traficant. And Barry Seal. And Mark Lombardi. And my friend Brian Quigg. I think they murdered Brian. And Gary Webb of the San Jose Mercury News. Well, they went to work on old Gary Webb, didn't they? Sure damn did. And, you know, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and W, old W and Big H, Poppy Bush. That little scam you were running out of Lamar Terrace with the Khashoggis and the Gabanafars and the Bin Ladens and Oliver North and Bud McFarlane and Admiral Poindexter, Bill Casey, you know, the gun running operations that gave birth to what Hillary Clinton was doing in Libya, what Hillary Clinton was doing in Syria, and what Hillary Clinton was doing in Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan. Right, Hillary? And James Baker III of Baker and Botts of Houston, Texas, come on down, buddy. And we're going to talk us about Hillary's private little for-profit gun running operations with Eric Holder and Barack Obama. That's right, I said it. I said it, Scott Bennett. So Donald Trump. Now you know what old Jimmy Traficant felt like. And Lyndon LaRouche, they did this to Lyndon LaRouche too. And oh, by the way, they did it to me too back in the 80s because I was exposing all those crooked little slime balls that were robbing the savings and loans in the banks. So, okay, folks, I think I'll wrap this one up with reminding you to look up toxic zombie developments and go to any search engine you want to, I suppose, and type in bank looting and land fraud and trillions stolen. Type in bank fraud or bank looting, land fraud, and trillions stolen, and enjoy all my collection of work. Because you see, folks, I had an awful lot of help from my friends. Just like Joe Cocker. With a little help from my friends, we shut down the biggest crime wave and crime spree in all of human history. How about that, Scott Bennett? Maybe old Booz Allen Hamilton will want to take credit for that too, right? But if you can show me, Mr. Booz Allen Hamilton, where you were in the newspapers back in the 80s and the 1990s, exposing this financial rape of the United States, as old W would say, bring it on, Scott Bennett. Because you know something, you and Julian Assange and David Ikes and Alex Jones and quite a few other people out there are just full of crap. You're full of crap. 100% full of crap, taking other people's work and calling it your own. And on a final note, Professor Bill Black and Kat Wolford and Catherine Austin Fitts and Linda Miner from the Harris County Attorney's Office, and Lacey Olson. You know who that is, right, Scott Bennett? You know who Lacey Olson is? And Bill Pack from the old Houston Post, and I don't know, Stephen Pizzo and Peter Bruton. You see, Mr. Scott Bennett, I was working with Peter Bruton. Call me Deep Throat, Mr. Bennett. I was blowing the bloody whistle on the gun running, money laundering, dope trafficking, human trafficking operations that were going on in the Houstonian Estates on the 26th floor in Big H Poppy Bush's suite. And for my little friend down there to Conroe, Texas, Nelda Luce Radabow Blair and Judge Alan Barb Sadler, I told you so. I told you all so. And if you got a problem with this particular video, get a hold of former United States Secret Service agent Rick Williams. He's currently the head of the corporate security office for the ConocoPhillips Oil Corporation in the Woodlands, Texas. He protected the football. Didn't you, Rick Williams? Oh, Rick Williams, my buddy. I just want to find out if you're any kin to Tom Williams and Candy Williams and Guy Williams. That's and Williams Airport over at Porter Heights, Texas. Boy, that old Porter Heights, Texas airport, Williams Airport, man, what a trip that place was. And the Joiners, I said that correctly, the Joiners, they know what I'm talking about. Folks, I'm going to leave it right there, and as always, hasta la vista, God bless, and booze Alan Hamilton. Man, you guys you should have been comedians. Hasta la vista. God bless, and you betcha, we're definitely coming back.